You know what it is. I always start off with a smile. Um, I'm coming live from the classroom, here to educate and teach today once again. Um, you know, I love doing this. This is what I do. I teach for a living all the way around, from the youngins to the old heads, as they would say. So, good afternoon. No, it's today is Tuesday. I'm thinking it's Thursday. I wish it was Thursday. I wish it was Friday Eve, but it's tantalizing terrific Tuesday. But it's Real Estate Tuesday on my platform. I always talk real estate today. I talk real estate every day, really, but today I dedicate it strictly to real estate. Let me pull up my stuff here. Let's pull in my hair. Um, I'm always happy to be here. So we're talking about how to get qualified the lender way. How to get qualified the lender way. If you are new to my live, drop a one. If you are a repeat offender, drop a two. If you're watching a replay, please drop a three in the comments. I would love to get some feedback. Share the video as always. Um, my name is Toria Howard. I am an educator of real estate and look, English, language arts, financial literacy, all of the above. But I also do, I do credit repair, financial literacy, help you get some things going. And I I help you to, get yourself on track, get your your finances on track. So here I'm just talking about, how to qualify the lender way. So I talked about last week, um, just the different facets of getting prepared. So some of the things that I discussed last week was your mindset, right? So your mindset has to be in a different frame when you're talking about purchasing a home, because you're investing into your future. And you have to look at it as such. You have to look at it as you are investing in your future into you. So you have to have an investor mindset. You have to be ready for the process. You have to get your mind ready for people to be combing through your finances, for a waiting process. It doesn't turn around that quickly. 30 to 45 days is usually the whole entire process. And sometimes the process can be so long and daunting because it's like something, 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 something every single day, especially when you get up to the end. When you get up to the negotiation part, when you get up to the inspect, all these different things, negotiations, repairs, and all of that, if that's the case. With my investor clients, sometimes that's not the case, but, you know, um, generally it takes 30 to 45 days. Sometimes it takes longer. No telling what happens on, the title side or whatever the case may be. So you have to be mentally prepared for the process, right? So being mentally prepared is, making sure that you are self-aware of your finances. Where do you stand? How much can you afford? What do your debts look like? Do you have any negative items on your credit report? The lenders don't want to see any late payments, definitely not. Any collections, definitely not. Okay. So if you have collections and late payments, those two of the things you're gonna have to clean up before you can go to the mortgage lender. Bankruptcies are not as bad if they are. Some lenders are still accepting 2 years off of bankruptcy, so you just have to check with that certain lender. But some of them are saying 5 years. Um, I know a lot of apartment management companies are doing 5 years, and some lenders I've talked to, they're going to that because they want to continue to move the finish line. So you have to just get your affairs in order. So of course, you can't have any foreclosures, no evictions, no repossessions, no negative items. And if you have high debt, which I'm going to get into, then they're going to, see how you're going to rectify that situation as well. So you have to have a good handle on what your finances are. You have to have a good handle on what's coming in, what's going out. So having a budget is essential. I talked about that yesterday. Our platform has a wonderful budgeting system. If you're not budgeting, and I know budgeting seems so like, oh my God, yeah, somebody gotta, it's really not. You want to know what's coming, what's going out, because a lot of times when you don't track what's going out, we overspend. And when you overspend, you don't have enough for savings or investing, flipping some money around, investing in your business or whatever the case may be. So you have to make sure that you are looking at what's going in and what's coming out on a monthly basis. Sometimes we have things coming out on a weekly basis. Sometimes it's every 2 weeks. However that cycle works, you have to be able to compete with all of that and make sure that you're staying ahead of it. Because if you're not, then it's going to overwhelm you. A lot of people are overwhelmed with all the things that are coming out because they're not tracking it. You have to track it. So, your mindset needs to, when you're looking for to be a homeowner, your mindset has to be set as an investor. Your finances, you have to have a handle on your finances. No negative items, no, that budget, having some savings. Now, there is plenty of programs out there that offer, no down payment and all of that. But the caveat to that is you have to have savings. You have to have savings. That's what is missing. That's the missing piece. It's the missing mark there, because people are like, well, you can buy a house with no money. You can, and you don't have to put any money down, but they still want to see that you know how to handle your finances. So you have to have at least 3 months of your mortgage payment saved and showing in an account. You probably won't even need it. And then you go out and use that money to do whatever you want to do with it as you get the home. So you have to have at least 3 months of savings. So if you know that you can handle $1,500 a month, that means you need to have $4,500 saved when you're talking about going to the lender. So you need to make sure that you have these things in a row. And that's what I'm talking about today. How to get qualified the lender way, right? So your credit score is essential. They're going to look at that first and foremost. That's going to get them on the phone to talk to you and say, okay, this. But what's going to open the door is what's on your credit profile. I talk to lenders all the time, and they want to see what they call tier one banks on your credit report. They want to see the American Express, the Chase, the Bank of America, the Wells Fargo, those credit unions, Navy Federal being one of them. They want to see those banks on your credit report, right? And you have to have a good mix of credit. They're looking for a good mix of credit. So yes, your credit score is important, but what's on your profile is even more important. If you don't have the proper profile, then you won't get qualified. They're going to ask you to wait 6 months, wait a year, wait 2 years to get the proper trade lines. Okay, what they call them, the credit lines. Um, you have to make sure that you do all that you need to do and make sure that you have those credit lines, those trade lines on there. So Capital One is considered still up there. It's kind of teetering with the tier one, but Capital One is still good. Navy Federal, any credit unions are good to have on your credit report. Being having a credit card with them or having a personal loan with them, having your auto payment with them, whatever it is. So the good mix of credit that you need is revolving credit and installment credit. So revolving credit is the credit cards, right? You have the credit cards, from those top tier banks, and then you have the installment credit. You can be, a personal loan, an auto loan, furniture bill, something that doesn't bother your utilization, that you're paying installments on that's going down. So that's what an installment loan is. And you need to have a good mix. Now, if you're top heavy in just credit cards, you need to get a personal loan to kind of, balance that. Or you can, your car payment, if you have that car payment, that is essential as well. So that will help you with your profile. So that's your profile. Now, I just kind of touched on it, saving for a down payment. You're not really, if you're a first time home buyer, you don't really have to save for a down payment. Even if you've bought a home before, if it's been a couple years, few years, you can still use these government programs, and not even government programs, but the money has been sent down from the government for people to buy homes, and people are not doing it because they won't get their finances in order. So you have, I know in Memphis, There's $25,000 to buy a home. I'm in Detroit. They giving away like $45,000 to buy a home, giving money away. Everybody want a grant. Everybody don't want a loan. All this stuff, and they're giving the money away, but nobody is getting it sitting on the table because people are not getting their profiles together, not getting their credit together, and making this just the small sacrifices. How many times have you made a sacrifice for something that you really wanted? And if you want to be a homeowner, then making a small sacrifice for a small amount of time is is so beneficial. I had a client that I was working with, and she told me she wasn't buying nothing. She wasn't buying anything on credit. She don't need credit, all of this and all of that. But when I broke it down to her and explained to her how to use it, she changed her mindset. She thought she was going to never be a homeowner, ever be a homeowner. Okay. And she ended up, because of me coaching her through and showing her what to do, she was able to qualify for a home in 6 months. And because of the fact that she didn't have money saved, she had to wait another 4. So it took her 10 months to buy a home. But she's a homeowner now. So I say all that to say this: 6 months, maybe even 2 years, depending on what programs or what you need to have on your credit report. Hey, it's not that long of a time. I mean, look how fast this year has blown by. September is over. September is over. Thank you, Michelle. September is over. So, are you willing to make a sacrifice to get your finances in order for 6 months up to 2 years to get your finances in order? Is that too hard of a sacrifice to save money? 3 months, all you need is 3 months of savings. 3 months of savings might seem like a lot, but think about what you're spending money on. That same money that you're wasting and throwing away on subscriptions and going out to eat and doing all these frivolous things that's making you happy, you know, could be a part of your savings. And you have to realize that making simple sacrifices now will give you something better in the long run. So that's the thing. You don't have to save for a down payment as a first time home buyer per se, but you have to have some savings at least 3 months. So, like I said, are, if you know you can afford $1,500 a month, then $4,500 is all that you need to save. And I know a lot of people, want to wait to tax time and all of that. That is awesome. That is great. But you shouldn't rely on money that you're getting back in order to have a habit of saving. Savings should be an expense in your budget. And I'm not talking about those low level savings accounts that give you a penny a year. I'm talking about high yielding savings accounts. You have banks that's giving savings percentages of 4, 3, 4, 5%. And if you can find talk to a financial advisor, but you also have accounts out there that's giving 8 to 10%. It's not a specific savings. It's like an IRA or some type of higher investment account. But you have, yeah, right. But you have, um, you know, that type of way for you to invest. And then you can do, like, if you want something in higher yielding and something that's going to, because you got to wait a year, you can invest in REITs, which are real estate investment trusts. If you don't, get your feet wet in the real estate game by investing in somebody else's investment and getting the dividends from it, that'll yield you a lot of savings too. So it's so many different ways that you can, maneuver and save. And it's not your traditional way, but you got to have it sitting in an account somewhere. You said only $45 a month. No, you have to have $4,500 saved for 3 months of savings if you can afford $1,500 a month. That's what I mean, because you have to have 3 months of your savings saved in order for you to qualify for all these programs that's out here for first time home buyers. They want to see that you have 3 months of your mortgage saved or whatever it is that you can save. You know, they want to see some savings. A lot of times the lender will let you know how much you need. But that's good to get an established relationship with lenders so that you can see that, see what their qualifications and what they're looking for. But if you know what you can, you what you can afford, you definitely need to save that. So, like I said, if you can know you can afford $1,200 a month, $1,500, 17. If you're paying $2,000 in rent, I hope not. But in some places, I mean, that's like average normal, but that's a lot to invest that $2,000 to invest in somebody else's investment that you get zero return from. You know, that's a lot. Another thing about being lender prepared is maintaining stable employment. Whew, let me tell you, I've run into so many people who, during the process change jobs and do all these different things with their employment when they're in the home buying process. You have to be stable at a job for at least 2 years or an industry for 2 years. So, for instance, if you are like a factory worker and you're staying in the same industry and you switch jobs, you're staying in the same industry, that's fine. If you're a professional, a lot of times too, it all depends. A lot of times when you're a professional and you're switching jobs, switching companies, if you stay in the same field, that's not a problem either. Now, what becomes a problem is when you are, you're working in fast food and you go to the warehouse and then you go to the nursing home. It seems like your employment all over the place. That's a red flag because that it seems like you're unstable and unsure, and they don't want to lend to people that are unstable and unsure. So you have to have stable and steady, consistent job history. Okay. Especially when you get the don't, and I'm talking about when you get your approval letter, don't switch jobs then either. Please don't do it. Just wait. Just wait. Don't buy a car either. Don't add. I'm gonna get to that in a second, but don't change jobs during the process. So if you have steady employment, you've been in the same industry or the same job for at least 2 years, that's a check mark. So let's go back over the three I did. So your credit score and your credit profile is essential. So making sure that you have it. You really only need like a 640 for these first time home buyer programs. Really not a high, and you can refinance later. You have a higher credit score, but getting the house will actually improve your credit. That's the thing because it's an installment loan. And then hey, you get in the house, I can show you how to pay that mortgage out faster. So, you get into the house, it helps improve your credit. Once you get up to that 700 mark, then you refinance, right? So you only need a 640 to apply for the programs. But if you have money, some people have a lot of money. If you have a lot of money already, but your credit score is like a 580, yeah, it's just rate is gonna be high. But all you need is a 3% down payment with a 580 for FHA right now. They changed the rules because they need people to buy homes. They got all this money out here. They can't lend it. So even with a 580, I don't suggest that, but you can still get in the house. The house will help you improve your credit and refinance because your interest rate will be high. But you want to get your credit score to a 720, 740, 760, in order to get the best interest rates. 740 to 800, 850, you're going to get the same interest rates. It's not going to matter. But you want to get as high as you can. But if you need to get in the house soon and you have a 640 and you have your 3 months saved and you've been on your job for, consistently for at least 2 years, you check those three boxes right there. And you don't have any negative items, no late payments, no collections, bankruptcy they accept if 2 years or later. Okay. Um, so another major thing, once you check the credit score, the credit profile box, the savings for the down payment box, even though you don't really have to use it, they just want to see your savings that you can save and your stable employment. Let's talk about the debt to income ratio. Okay. So this is what kills people too, because a lot of people, when you make a lot of money, you have more debt. So you have to have your DTI, your debt to income ratio, should be below 43% of your income. And that's including rent. And a lot of people are paying almost 50% of their income in rent. So if you're paying almost 50% of income in your paying 50% of your income in rent, your debt to income ratio is high. because you have all these other things that you have to pay for. So 43% or below is the threshold for your debt to income ratio. So 43%, you have to, have 43% of your 43% or below of your income to debt. Okay. So you need to have more income than to your debt. Okay. So 57% of your needs to be income, 43% can be debt. Now, the higher your credit score in certain instances and certain lenders, you can have a higher DTI, debt to income ratio, because they know that a lot of people that make a lot of money have a lot of debt because they have a lot of, and it's good debt out there. And that's another thing that people misunderstand. There's good debt versus bad debt. Now, if your debt, if you have a lot of debt that's settled in your assets, that's cash flowing, that's doing something that debt is making more money for you, then that's different. But if you have a lot of debt and it's like credit card debt, you have those store cards, you got a high car payment, all these different things that you have on there, then that becomes a problem. Now, if your debt is assigned to assets and this cash flow is bringing in money, they kind of overlook that because they know a lot of affluent people or people that make a lot of money that have assets tied into that debt. It kind of trumps it. So sometimes you have that 65%, but the higher your credit score, the higher your debt to income ratio. But the whole point is to paying that debt down. And I gave some strategies on how to pay the debt down yesterday. So check out my live from yesterday. You can fast forward and find it because I do talk for a long time, but I try to keep it short as possible. But I did give you some strategies. You can do a top down effect or bottom up effect. I think I talked about it yesterday, or it was last week. But you can pay down that debt without having to consolidate or file for bankruptcy. Because the trick about I filed, look, I'm gonna be transparent moment. I filed for bankruptcy 3 times. Poor financial literacy, okay? And bankruptcy is a temporary fix for a long-term problem because it gets you out of trouble with your creditors, but it haunts you for so long after the fact. Especially if you're trying to if you're trying to rent or you're trying to buy a house, you have to wait 2 years after a bankruptcy to buy a home. Some of these management companies are saying 5 years to even rent from them after a bankruptcy. So it leaves a stain on you, and you just don't want to do that. So it's ways you have to be fearless. Talk to your creditors. They negotiate. They want their money. They'll negotiate with you. You can negotiate your interest rates. You can negotiate your payments. Tell them what you can afford. Hey, all I can afford is this. And if you have something that's high interest, I would tackle that first. Tackle the highest interest one first. Throw whatever extra money you can, and then trickle it down to the other ones after you finish paying it off. But you also have to use your credit wisely. Use your credit cards like your debit card. Pay your bills with your credit card if you're allowed to. I had somebody that I knew that was paying his rent on his credit card. So you eliminate a bill. Basically, you eliminate a bill, and it's you say you pay your cell phone, your internet, all those frivolous things, you put that on your credit card. Look, you eliminate the bill, you pay the credit card, you got the money anyway, buy your groceries, all of that, right? So that's that's what you do with that. So after the debt to income ratio, then you get your pre-approval, right? After you do all of that, after you check your credit score, your credit profile, and make sure that's good. You have your savings of your 3 month savings. You have your stable employment. You have that 43% or less debt to income ratio. 4 things, y'all. All you need is 4 things to be qualified. How to get qualified like a lender will want you to be. All you need is 4 things. It's really not much. And I know it's frustrating when you don't know what to do. So here I am. I would love to coach you and to get into your first home, your next home. If you're an investor, I am an investor friendly realtor as well. I have my own real estate investment company. I am a commercial real estate agent. I know how to do the numbers and do all of that. So, but if you're a first time, if you want to be a homeowner and you're scared because you don't know what to do. You're fearful because I don't want to say scared because people, we grown, like we don't get scared, right? If you are, not knowledgeable of the process and want to know the process and how to get qualified, I can definitely coach you through that. If you have negative items on your credit report, I can definitely coach you through that. So allow me to do that. You can comment on my video. Just say me. If you need help with your finances, you want some questions about real estate. I have, I network with agents all across the country. I'm here in Michigan now, but I'm still a realtor in Tennessee. I can help you in Tennessee. I can help you all across the United States. But I'm here in Michigan. I'm getting ready to get my license here as well. So, contact me. Put me in the comments and let me know how I can serve you. I'm here to serve. I bid you adieu. It's time for me to eat lunch, and I'll see you tomorrow for what Wednesday. Who knows what I'll talk about? Share the video if you feel like this was some powerful information. I know you thought it was some powerful information. So I will see you soon. Talk to you later. Oh, you don't want to end.